Welcome to Automotive VV. My name is Peter Wooding and thank you for joining us. Today is the latest episode in our battery supply chain series. And today I'm joined by ACHIM Glass from Kuehne Nagel, Heine Loeffler from Genius Technologies, and last but by no means least, Carola Kraus, apologies, from TES.
Hello, everybody.
Thank you. During today's session, obviously, anyone watching are free to join with questions in the chat room, or if you don't like to ask questions directly as we're airing live, you can contact any of our panelists today afterwards. So without further ado, I'll hand you over to ACHIM, and I'm looking forward to it. Thank you.
Peter, thank you very much. Esteemed audience, welcome and hello to the latest episode of the Battery Supply Chain series. I am ACHIM Glass from Kuehne Nagel, the global leader and the pioneer in logistics services for zero-emission vehicles. Today's session is reverse logistics for end-of-life high-voltage batteries of electric vehicles. And in this session, we will discuss three areas which I believe will be of great interest to all of you. First, we're going to put a spotlight on the transportation challenges for end-of-life high-voltage batteries, so you have a good idea about the associated risks and you understand the overall process. Second, we will look into the respective transport, waste, and packaging requirements that regulate how to expedite and how to handle end-of-life batteries, so you get a good overview over the associated complexities. And last, we want to demystify the complex packaging requirements to transport high-voltage end-of-life batteries in Europe. I have two wonderful guests and industry experts and friends with me here today, Carola Krause and Heine Loeffler. And Carola, I would like to hand over to you to introduce yourself, followed by Heine.
Yeah, super. Thank you very much, Achim. And first of all, I have to thank you for inviting me to that interesting panel discussion. So as already introduced, I'm Carola Krause. I'm working for the TES Sustainable Battery Solutions in the position as the head of the Battery Solutions team in EMEA. Myself, I'm over 25 years, or I have over 25 years experience in the logistics industry, and in particular, the reverse supply chain. Through this time, I held various management positions and have been responsible for different industry segments, as well for the enterprise accounts belonging to the automotive segment, the high tech, the chemical industry, and last but not least, the healthcare. So my main scope of responsibility has been within the last 10 years, I would say, on end-of-life solutions in the reverse logistics. And therefore, it's my aim to combine really a solid practical expertise in BD, in solutions and operations management with my deep knowledge on waste legislation and dangerous goods management expertise. Mm-hmm. So what I recognized that in the last years, lithium-ion batteries, especially the ones from the EV market, have become a priority in my global solutions and my European project. And that means, thank you very much to all of you for that interesting journey we are now on.
Okay, Carola, thank you. Heine, could you please be so kind and also introduce yourself?
Yes, also warm welcome from my side. I'm pleased to be part of this session. My name is Heine Loeffler. I'm coming from Metzingen, south of Germany, nearby Stuttgart. My professional background, it's also logistic. I worked more than 30 years in a totally different branch. I was in different management positions in the apparel and sporting goods industry. Now, since 1.5 years ago, I took the challenge to change my life, my business life, and I'm now here nearby the new airport of Berlin, and I'm responsible within the Genius Group, which are different companies. I took over the whole responsibility for this group.
Okay, Carola, Heiner, thank you very much. My first question, Carola, will go to you. Can you please be so kind and also introduce TESS Sustainable Battery Solutions? I know what you do. Many people know what you do, but potentially not everybody. So we are very curious to hear more about your organization.
Okay, so as TESS is a global and a large company, I will try to reduce on the most most interesting part for today. So TESS itself was founded in 2005 and has become one of the world's leading partners for sustainable technology life cycle solutions. That means we offer services for end-of-life solutions for what we call standard services, as well the customized or tailor-made setups for global battery and WEEE producer, the retailers, and all of them are mostly, the world's largest and well-known brands. TESS is operating in over 20 countries with over 45 production sites. That means that we have a worldwide presence, really. Mm-hmm. And to give you some figures, for example, in Singapore, we opened the largest lithium-ion battery recycling location of Asia with a 5,000-ton annual capacity. In China, we will have 1,000-ton annual capacity by end of 21. Both are mechanical and hydrometallurgical processes. Mm-hmm. Coming to Europe, which is for today the important part, is that especially in Europe, we decided to make significant investment in lithium battery services. And we extend the portfolio for services supporting our clients' waste and recycling material streams. Mm-hmm. So we have available lithium-ion batteries consolidation centers, which can act as hub for receiving, sorting, and pre-treatment of the EV batteries. We have them available in UK, in Germany, in Netherlands, and in France. And we are in the development phase of Spain and Italy. Mm-hmm. Achim, I need to mention as well the recycling capacity. I'm sorry for that. I try not to bore you, but these are interesting figures, and it is an interesting part for today. So the EV battery recycling, we have a capacity here in Europe, in France, of 600 annual capacity, 600 tons. This is mechanical plus a pilot scale hydro, and in the Netherlands we are developing currently 10,000 tons annual capacity, and they will be ready by end of 2002. So this is as well mechanical and hydrometallurgical as we already have in Asia.
Okay. Carola, thank you very much. Oh, no, listen, awesome. It is important that people understand what is actually the service, what TESS is offering, how can TESS help customers along the value chain of lithium-ion batteries to solve problems. But I do understand you're not a recycling expert. You're a logistician, right? So what is your job when it comes to supply chain management and transportation?
So I'm a pure solution problem solver, and that means my responsibility in TESS is to design and customize solutions, especially within the reverse logistic chain for our clients of automotive and high-tech segment, and as well the battery producers. So the keyword here mostly is the producer take-back obligation of EV batteries and the recycling of the battery producers' production scrap. The value that I bring to TESS customers is to screen and analyze really the whole supply chain on local and EU waste requirements, and in addition, the applying ADR compliance. Mm-hmm. So on the European level, Achim, the complexity is that we have mainly to manage hazardous waste status plus the dangerous goods status, and a challenge for every one of us, because here really expert knowledge on several laws and the required this is combined really with having the expertise of pan-European projects. Mm-hmm. And in particular, I have to ensure a safe, efficient, reliable, and compliant process for all opportunities on high voltage batteries. That is, at the end, the daily business.
But I do understand that you are not a transportation company, right? You work in transportation, but do you guys have your own fleet of trucks that are running around all over Europe, or are you working with third-party logistics providers? How does this work?
Yeah, you need to ask me that, but don't worry, Achim. Tess is a recycler and is not interested to offer or operate with own fleets. So that's the reason why we are subcontracting and cooperating with logistics companies like yours.
Mm-hmm.
So
Okay.
traditionally, the clients we have, they are straight delivered into our facilities. And however, that has become more and more an issue as legislations are very complex. So we decided that we want to offer transportation as well to make sure or to guarantee the compliance on it. And therefore, we are open here to cooperate with other companies.
Okay. Carola, you emphasize compliance. Is there something else where you would say this is the biggest concern or challenge that you have when it comes with regards to transportation of end-of-life batteries?
So there are two I would like to mention. One is clearly compliance, but the second one is safety. So, and both need to be over all stages of the supply chain, from the pickup to the transportation, to the inspection, the clustering, in the end of usage or in the reusable ones for a second life, and then over to the dismantling, the discharging, and the recycling itself.
Okay. Okay. Carola, thank you. Hold your train of thought for a second, please, because I would like to get Heiner also engaged. And Heiner, Carola said, and Achim agrees on that, safety is one of the most important areas of concern. What does safety and Genius technology have in common? When I talk Genius technology and high voltage batteries and safety, what is your take on that?
We have to prove safety with our systems we offer for transportation and for storage, especially for lithium-ion batteries. The Genius Group are some companies, and all companies are specialized in several different aspects of fire safety and fire prevention. Genius Technology is the company towards the customer. We offer systems, especially transport storage boxes, which are certified, which are proof, even if inside the box a thermal runaway happens. We have a Genius development company, which is specialized to find individual solutions for our customers if there are new challenges, new battery dimension sizes, new cell chemistry. We will find the solution, and we offer a broad range of systems. We call it system, not only boxes, because it's the system behind it.
Okay, Heiner, I don't know, I'm losing you.
Yeah, Heiner is frozen, I think.
Oh.
It's cold in Germany.
Oh.
Come back into the heat.
I hope I come back.
Yeah, here you
soon.
are.
Yes, Heiner, you're back. Let me see, Heiner, let me take over here for a second. So I do understand you guys are doing fire safety. You're providing different systems, as you refer to it, which goes beyond the sheer box, the transportation or the storage box. We at Kuehne Nagel, as you know, transporting and storing goods in all the automotive and EV hotspots around the world. And without getting too technical, Heiner, and I hope you can still hear us,
Yes.
what is so special about the box? You know, it's beyond the box, is what I understand. But in very simple terms, because I know you are an engineer, but without becoming too technical, what is so special about the Genius safety, quarantine, and transport boxes?
What we offer is a kind of box like the Castor is for the nuclear energy. So we have the system for the lithium-ion batteries.
Okay, and what makes the box special?
Equipment. Sorry?
I was going to say.
You can hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you well, Heine. You know, I was wondering that maybe there are certain characteristics about the box. It is a wooden box, it is a box of concrete, a plastic box. Maybe you can tell us more about this specific.
For the automotive industry, we offer different sizes and shapes of stainless steel boxes, and they will be filled with our pyro bubbles. That's patented by our company, Genius Patent Company, patented a product made of like a glass granule, a highly porous glass granule. And if the batteries are totally embedded in these pyro bubbles within the box, we can prove that all the regulations would be kept for safe transportation of even critical lithium-ion batteries. So we have to prove with our systems by fault tests from 2 meters high that the box will not break, that the battery move inside, that it's totally fixed, and even if a thermal runaway happens, we have to prove that we can manage the toxic gases which will be created during this process. We have to prove that the outside temperature of the box doesn't exceed 100 degrees even after 24 hours. So this is the safe system to transport all these batteries, different sizes, different shapes, from one place, for example, by Kuehne Nagel to TESS.
Yeah. Okay. All right. We understood so far what TESS sustainable battery solutions how they can support end-of-life transportation and the recycling challenge, and understand from you, Heine, as well what your company can do. But I would like to become more practical.
Yes.
How does a typical engagement process start? You know, Carola, maybe back to you. You get a phone call, you get an email from a prospect. What do those customers, who are your customers? Are they OEMs, tier 1 suppliers? And how does the standard process typically look like, the engagement process?
So I would not talk on the TESS engagement process. I would start there where we had all the administrative parts already done. And this is then really, really practical. We had to pick up a battery, for example, let's assume at a pickup location from a battery production site. And here the waste owner, or let's say the shipper, has the responsibility to classify the battery and to provide for each pallet or packaging unit a battery condition form, which complies with the ADR UN manual of tests and criteria part 3. So long word. To simplify that, we can say we cluster the battery into 3 different categories: the green, the yellow, and the red ones. And here you already have a feeling on how complex it can be and what kind of knowledge you need to know to simply pack and onboard a battery onto a truck. So coming to the green batteries, these are batteries which are end of life and not showing any damage and no defect on it. The yellow ones becoming here a little bit more importancy. So the yellow ones are batteries that are either damaged or defective, but still considered safe for transport. So here you need to take care on the packaging that requires a special packaging we need to be aware of. As well, the applied carrier need to know that, need to be informed on that, and you need to provide an additional information to him. And the red ones, these are the critical and defective ones, clearly not safe for transport. And I think latest here, Heine and Genius Technology come into the game, because here they are expert, and those batteries really need special handling. And maybe Heine, I know you for many years, so maybe you can now explain what it means if you come with your team to a pickup location.
Normally, we don't come directly to the place, but we offer to our customers to all the companies who have lithium-ion batteries in place, the system for the safe transportation. They can buy these systems from us, which I explained a little bit how it works, or they can order a company which has the service and the educated people to do this. If we had a request from one of these companies, we normally first ask to fill up a checklist about the battery, because each battery is different and the safety regulations, as you know, are very strictly. You have to know about the dimensions to keep the distance to the walls, about the cell chemistry, and of course about the energy power, because the relation of the pyro bubbles has in a certain ratio to the power of the battery that they keep all the energy if an accident, an event happens.
Mm-hmm.
So the first step normally is to ask them to fill out a checklist, and then we have such a variety of boxes in place, offer the right box for this customer for the safe transportation. The system will remain the same, battery embedded in the pyro bubbles within the box with all the technical features, which I will not explain in detail. Achim, no fear. But that's how it works.
Okay.
And of course, we also offer fire tests, for example, for the OEMs. If they have new batteries in place, you even have to prove with a battery fire test that that all the regulations are really given and proved.
Mm-hmm.
Otherwise, you are not allowed to transport it.
So, Heiner, is it a fair statement when I say that you have smaller boxes for modules, larger boxes for hybrids, and then large boxes for full battery electric vehicle battery packs?
Yes. Yes.
Okay. Okay.
We have really the small ones, and we have two tendencies at the moment. One is back to smaller modules, and on the other hand, all the big truck and bus and forklift batteries are now under development, and
Heiner, you are breaking up a little bit.
Before they are introduced to the market. And therefore we can even in the forefield develop such boxes fitting to the new batteries.
Okay. Heiner, we lost you here for a second. Maybe give you some time to reestablish the connection. Carola, question to you. What if we have a red listed BEV battery pack at a dealer sitting in Portugal? This is the situation I'm confronting you with right now. What do we have to consider? What's happening next? What is the problem?
And what's happening next, we never know. Huh? So, so to think practical, I would say the weight itself of a whole battery pack is already a challenge. So you really need to think practical. We are at a pickup location. Heiner and his team, or what I now learned, this is not his team, it's an external team who is doing the service for Genius. So those experts are already at a pickup location, and it could be also the company of you, Achim, if you have the experts on site who are doing the packaging for the customer. It can also then be a logistics company. But let's do. We are at the site. The battery box is there available, but how now the battery comes into the box and the battery plus the box into the truck. So yeah, you cannot forget, how do you move a steel box which can maybe have about 800 kg net, plus the filling material which is inside, plus the net battery pack, which also can be about 900 to 1,000 kilo. So from my experience and what I had learned from the past is that not all of the pickup location have available a 2-ton forklift on the site. So, and many of them don't have any lifting equipment at all. And you need to move the whole load now into a maybe 3.5 or 7.5 truck without a ramp lift, without a forklift. So as well, the waiting time, which needs to consider, is not only a cost aspect. It is also a question of patience, of well coordinating your project, of planning and communication between all the parties being involved. And I think Heiner made already the same experience because he's the first one being on the site and being on a daily basis, affected with these challenges. Heiner, maybe you can tell us a little bit of your practice.
But Heiner, before you do that, maybe you can restart your camera, because at least I see you frozen. And maybe you switch the camera off for a second and you switch it on again so that we can see you. Now the camera is off, Heiner. Here we go. There you are. Okay, you're back. Very good. Okay.
Sorry for that. Bad connection.
Right.
Must be caused by the weather. We have heavy rain here in Berlin. I start with the easier part of the question, how to bring the battery to the box. How's the process? Normally, the battery is first filled up by 20 centimeters of pyro bubbles on the bottom. Then you take a forklift or what else you have in hand to bring the battery in, and then you fill it up, the box, totally. And it really has to be very straight filled up, and that the battery is fixed and cannot move anymore. Then, of course, the lid comes to the box. It will be closed. The lid will be valves and so on. And then the battery is safely packed and nothing can happen anymore. No danger for the environment. Of course, inside the thermal runaway could happen. But
Heiner, let me stop you there. I have a question for you. Yeah. I mean, Carola, Achim, together, we probably have, let's say, 150, 160 kilograms. Okay, would we be able to lift a battery into the box? You said we need a forklift, we need a traverse, maybe. How long does it take? You know, is this something which you can do in 5 minutes, or what is the average process time for somebody who's not trained?
The whole process time is between 1 and 2 hours to pack the battery safely to the box.
Okay, and who can do that? I mean, can I send a student and say pack the box, or is this something where we need to have, I imagine, we need to have experienced people and trained people?
Yes, that's exactly the point. You have to supervise this process by employees.
So we don't have only the battery challenge, we have the IT challenge as well, it seems.
Yeah.
It's frozen again. So but yeah.
I was lost again, right?
Yeah,
we lost you again.
Back.
Yeah, sorry. Sorry for
that.
But
okay, but we do understand it's difficult. You need to train people. It takes about 2 hours. It's a very diligent process. So this is, I think this is understood.
You need qualified persons. And because also the driver has to be certified for this transportation, because both the dangerous goods expert and the driver, they have to sign before the transport starts that all regulations are in place and that they did the process. Now you are frozen.
Yeah, okay. I should not be frozen, but I see that Carola is still over there. Carola, let's just assume that the battery has been unmounted from the vehicle, trained and experienced people ensure that we safely pack the battery, the critical battery, into a Genius safety box, and it's also properly labeled, and we have documented the process. What's next? What is now so difficult in just shipping a truck to the dealer and bringing it to one of your facilities? What are the obstacles in between the dealer and arriving at tests?
So maybe you remember that I mentioned that you need to be compliant to the dangerous goods regulation. That is what you are referring to, and Heine explained very well. But you also need to apply with the waste regulation. So you need to know that the most countries are classifying batteries as a hazardous waste. And if you want to transport hazardous waste, waste at all, and hazardous waste especially, you cannot send any truck and you cannot go anywhere and pick it up and do whatever you want.
Okay.
So waste regulation requires from all parties involved a certification, a permit, and special knowledge. And if we now talk on the batteries, mostly they were classified as hazardous waste. If you want to pick up hazardous waste, there is something which is called a notification process for cross-border shipments. And as well on the local basis, you have hazardous waste requirements you need to comply with. So what does it mean? Your pickup location normally needs to be certified as a waste producer. You need to have trained person in them, especially for cross-border. And in the example you mentioned, I remember it was Portugal. You need to come cross-border if you want to deliver or pick up or transport into France. You need to notify. So the notification requires the pickup location needs to be certified. The carrier needs to be certified, as well the final destination for recycling or treatment needs to be certified. You need to pre-alert this notification process 5 days in advance. You need to mention the name of the carrier. You need to mention the car plate. You need to mention in advance how many truckloads you will do over the year, how many tons you want to transport over the year. And each party for that single transport need to report later that the job is done. And if that is not enough, at the end, you need to follow a special route which is confirmed by the authority in advance. So you cannot go everywhere or cannot use any highway. You need to in advance think on that. The most producers, what I have on my desk is, hey Carola, can you pick up the battery? It's ad hoc, so don't worry, it's only 200 kilos, so let's do it. I said, okay, the problem is that, yes, we can do that, but we need to respect the requirements. And then the client very often, he cannot follow you. You try now to explain to him, but to give him a knowledge which you or yourself trained for 3, 4, or 5 years, it's impossible to bring it within 5 minutes. And there is also in the market, let's say, how should I call that? Some of them are acting with the gray zones in the regulations. And this is maybe possible for those who are not regularly in the waste business, but for us as recycler, we have no excuse. So if we are not consulting, if we are not acting in a compliant way, if we are not respecting all the rules, we have no excuse. We have not only a penalty, we have a rejection of our permit. And that is what the most clients or the ones who are requesting something on us are totally forgetting.
Okay.
I don't know how it is for you, but it's your business. If you are losing your permit at all, you cannot transport anything.
Correct. Well, we at Kuehne Nagel, we by category, we do not accept spot shipments. You know, if somebody calls us and says, "Can you pick up a shipment?" from that, it's simply impossible, and that is sometimes difficult to explain to a customer because they don't understand why wouldn't we want to do that. But you mentioned some of the complexities which are involved, so it needs to be very, very well planned. And typically, this is why companies cooperate with each other. You know, you are designing a strategy for a client, and this design phase can take up to a couple of months before actually you start to ship the first battery. So everything needs to be in place before and needs to be well mapped out. But spontaneous day-to-day operational ad hoc business does not happen. Carola, one more question to you, and then I have a question from the chat with regards to thermal runway incidents, Heiner. So the question for you, which you can already prep a little bit, is how do you deal with the toxic gases? Okay, so this question will come to you in a second. But Carola, I'm very concerned because I understand from you, from your company, from yourself, and Achim, from my experience, being many years in the industry, we already have a challenge in getting these batteries collected and brought to recycling. But there's a wave, there's a tsunami of EV end-of-life batteries still ahead of us. So is the industry ready for this challenge? Do we have enough recycling organizations? Do we have enough trucks to possibly manage that?
So what we see in the market is that we were surprised of the upcoming volume now. So we expect the first end-of-life batteries coming back in 25. What we see now is we have recalls, we have warranty returns, and those were totally out of scope from all of us. So that means if we have today a recall of a big automotive producer, for example, which has a total year's capacity of 6,000 tons, we will bomb the available European recycling capacity at all. So all of us are preparing ourselves to have the capacity available. We all had our midterm plans, but now we all need to rush. So what we tested is we install all over Europe our consolidation centers, which allows us to notify from our own test facilities into our own recycling facilities. So that means that we can act a little bit more spontaneous than maybe the ad hoc spot business normally requires. So we can bring on a local basis an upcoming battery into a consolidation center and use an already available notification to speed up. That will not avoid at all that the recycling facility needs to have the capacities.
Correct.
And this is in whole Europe. I think our overall challenge now that who is the one being or having available the capacity. On the other hand, it is a question, when do we see really the first volumes coming back? If it is now the recall volume, which pops up next year with 5,000 tons and maybe 1,000 tons from the normal the normal market, you have 6,000 tons. When all of us starts with having 5,000 tons available, we will have 30,000 tons capacity. So that means we are empty. So nothing to do for us. And this is what the market makes it really difficult for the moment to really see when are the first volumes really coming, what is warranty, what is recall, what is real volume, and when do we have to invest and have to be ready. So TES decided we want to be ready as fast as possible. So we are doing our most to have that available. But anyhow, also we have to take care to have a technology which works at the end.
Correct.
And all of us, we are in a developing phase and trying to find the right technology, the right processes for that.
I understand. Heiner, you saw the question in the chat, which we highlighted over here. What happens if there's a thermal runway incident inside the box? How do you deal with the toxic gases, Heiner?
Yes, the question was about the toxic gases. And this is a special characteristics of our pyro bubbles, and that's why we patented it. They are highly porous, so they have a very big surface, and if the thermal runaway
Heiner, I'm afraid we're losing you again.
Starts and the comes out. I try it again.
Yeah, switch off the camera, or just take the camera off, maybe, Heine, because there's potentially a risk that we're losing bandwidth.
So hopefully you can hear me.
Yes, we can hear you very well.
Yes.
Okay, I think we are losing Heine again. Heine, I think we are losing you again, but the question is coming from Isabel Piper. And Isabel, I, of course, cannot speak on behalf of Genius. Oh, this is getting ugly now. Apologies for that, but this is
the toxic gases.
So, Ms. Isabel, we will come back to you in the chat function after the event in order to explain that to you. But very, very high level in the Genius boxes, a toxic gas filter is built in. So the vapors which will leave the box, you can inhale, you will not become intoxicated, which is also one of the reasons which makes these boxes so very, very special. Besides the double steel walls, it is certainly the toxic gas filter which is built in. Dear colleagues, it's 40 minutes in the session. I would like to wrap this session up and to bring it to an end. But before I do that, Carola, is there anything else, like a Schlussplädoyer in German? Is there anything, is there a particular message which you would like to bring over to the audience? And I will ask Heine exactly the same question in order to comply with our 45-minute time frame.
Yeah, so what I would love to have is using that that great full network here to connect, to share knowledge, to network, because we all, I think, are new in the market, and even if some of us are experienced in a special topic or in a legislation, no one of us knows everything. So I'm always interested and open to network, to share knowledge. Feel free to to connect me on LinkedIn. Feel free to give me a call whenever it fits, and then let's discuss and take together this challenge. And for you, Achim, thank you very, very much, and Peter, for you as well. It was interesting, and let's see what happened next.
Absolutely, Carola, thank you very much. Heine, are you still there?
I'm still there, and hopefully you can hear me, even
yes,
you
Heine.
cannot see me. Yes, same. There are a lot of question marks in the market. Not many people are really familiar with the regulations, and I just could recommend, come with your questions to us. Ask us. We have the technicians, we have the experts to help you and to find a solution for you. Also from my side, it was a pleasure to join the session once again, to be invited. Great.
Awesome. Carola, thank you very much for having joined us today. Heine, thank you very much for being with us here today. Esteemed audience, as it was alluded to by all of us, please don't hesitate to reach out. Use the automotive-ev.live community. We are all connected with each other. We can chat with each other. We can upload and download documents in that community. It will be a pleasure being in communication with you. And having said so, Peter, I would like to hand back to you in order to finalize and close the session. Thanks, Carola. Thank you, Heine. Thank you to all the watchers and listeners around the world. This is Achim Glass from Kuehne Nagel. Bye-bye.
Well, thank you all. Really interesting session, and quite difficult to understand when you sort of look from the outside in. How big a deal potentially is this when you first find out at a dealer that you actually have a defective battery, and looking at the processes in order to have it safe removal. It's far more complex than I think people imagine. So thank you very much for outlining as much as you could. Thanks everybody for watching. Obviously, any questions, given the nature of the question, would also be very beneficial to contact either Carola, Heine, ACHIM, or myself if you can't get through, and we will actually ensure they're answered. So thank you all very much indeed. Thanks everybody for watching. Let's keep safe as we're moving around a lot more than at one stage we were. And have a great day. Thank you very much. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye-bye, everybody.
Goodbye, everybody.
Yeah.
Hi, it's Peter again, and thank you for watching the session. Don't forget you can connect with all members within the EV community. Send messages to each other and start to build relationships for the future. Also, take a look at our supplier showrooms. Our partners have got lots of products and services that they have to offer, which again could be of benefit to you. Make the most of the opportunity, and thank you again for joining us.